Thank you for introducing the subject. Thank you for these inspiring words. It feels in many ways that this is the subject of our time, one of the greatest challenges I think humanity is facing. We've heard from you, obviously, so we're going to just go down the line here, have everyone introduce themselves. Just take a moment to say what your name is and give us a minute, your elevator pitch. What is your project?
Hi, my name is Robert. I'm CEO at My Water and we're coming from Slovenia. Actually, we need to provide more drinking water in outdoor spaces as water refills service. Why are we doing that? Because we really hate to see all this plastic being thrown away. And we actually reinvent public water taps and make them smart, safe and sustainable. Whatever we are doing is just to provide more water and less plastic. And I think this is the essence of everything. And I really appreciate that Mr. Bertrand on Solar Impulse give us a label. Plus, I think that Paris is one of the best cities and smartest because they will just ban the plastic water bottles.
Thank you. Next up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Haline Müller. I'm sales representative at VivaTech. So at VivaTech, we develop, produce organic solar films. So this is a organic photovoltaic technology, and this is here a small piece of our product. So yeah, we have a flexible, lightweight, very thin and truly green solar films with no wear material, no toxic, no silicium, cadmium, or what we can find in conventional PV. So yeah, we want to unlock all this potential of building who are maybe not able to apply conventional photovoltaic by applying the film directly on roof, facade, and all the potential application that could be.
And next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Esteban from Lavoisier Composite, so I'm the co-founder of the company. So Lavoisier Composite develop innovative materials with lower environmental footprint. Basically, we take byproducts from several industries and we turn these byproducts into new materials. For example, from the aerospace field, we have developed a material called carbonium, labeled by the foundation, and which is using prepreg material, so carbon fiber based, used for primary structure of aircraft, that we turn into structural material for secondary structures, and also for aesthetic applications like for luxury. Obviously, we have explored other fields like leather goods industry, textile, or agro-food, and we are each time developing new materials. Actually, we got a dozen of products, of range material products developed.
And last, we have our other Bertrand.
Hi everyone, I'm Bertrand Piccard, the CEO of Watt Park, a charging station for electric vehicles that is a bit particular. As a charging station owner, you can obviously use it for yourself, or you can rent it out to other people. In that sense, you can generate revenues from sharing your charging station to other electric vehicle drivers. If you're an electric vehicle driver, you can download our application and you can reserve any charging station available at the date and location you need. So you have the assurance that the charger will be available only for you when you truly need it. And believe me, this is one of the biggest pain points today while using an electric vehicle. In a nutshell, our company mission is to increase the density of the charging infrastructure across all areas, especially suburbs and in the rural areas. And we provide a full ecosystem, a digital ecosystem, and a connected charging station with a collaborative model embedded to charge electric vehicles.
Great, thank you. Well, I find all of this immensely inspirational, and to me it speaks to the moment that you're all in such different sectors addressing on one hand this big challenge that we all have, but it shows sort of the scope and the range of issues we face even within that. So let me just start at the end again with Bertrand, since you just spoke. Do you have a sense that with all the attention around these issues, that people, corporations, governments have really come to understand the scope of what we're facing, the size of this crisis, or are you generally still encountering a sense of denial about how profound this moment is?
I think I'd be optimistic around this. As you can see, there's a lot of ministers, French ministers, who came to this exhibition because they know that innovation can be the answer, to the environmental issues that we're currently facing. So I do believe personally that they take the right action. It takes time, like everywhere. But I think that governments, but also corporations, they understand the importance of shifting internal cultures or like the organization in order to embrace the challenges that are ahead of us. So I would speak for my company. So, but when we met enterprises or the people from the public sector, such as mayors, but we also discuss with ministers, I can clearly see that they also understand like this, they have this sense of urgency, and they try to take the best approach. And this is why we are all here, because we do provide solution to make that easier rather than being like another problem on their timetable. So I do believe they are optimistic about this.
And Esteban, same question to you. Are we living in a state of denial? Are you seeing a shift as you've been working in this area?
Yes, in fact, I think the main barrier for the topic we are leading is the mindset. Because people start just calling things waste. When you use the term waste, means that it's something that you want to discard or you are obliged to discard. And in many processes, there are residues generated every day that are impacting a lot. And some have properties, residual properties, added value that we can use for another cycle than the primary cycle. Is just to change of mindset to make sure that we can make the right processing of that to turn into a new material that can be used in a circle with the same company, the same field, or to another one, like the job we are doing with watchmakers in Switzerland, for example. So the potential is huge for us, but again, in many industries, people need to change the mindset. It's a resource. All the material we got in the planet Earth are resources, not waste. Waste is not existing in nature. So it's really the message I bring to all the companies. Please try to put us in the loop from the start. Eco-design, just think about the topic together. We can find solutions.
Yeah, that's a great thought, to change mindsets on that fundamental level. I mean, you can talk about the regulatory and economic and other things, but if we don't change that mentality, then it always feels like you're fighting against the system, I think. So let me just keep coming back down the row. So, in terms of rolling out the solar solution, practically speaking, what are the barriers then? Is it really the mindset, or is it economic, cultural, regulatory? What prevents, or what do you kind of find yourself pushing against to have a wider deployment?
Of course, solar is already very developed, but there is also some alternatives, some new technology. Solar is not only those rigid panels that we know, which is mainly coming from China or Asia. So there is some new technology even on solar. So for our company, this is organic solar. This is the technology which is pretty unknown, but it's really, I mean, it's organic. So there is no rare material. So this is truly green, So this is also what's important for us at VivaTech to offer a solution which is good for the planet, which is really green from the process, from the development to the process, for the recycling at the end of the life of the panel. This is all those topics which are really important to us. So there have been a lot of help from, I mean, we are a startup, so of course we have great partner, great investor, which are supporting us on this way. It takes time, sometimes more than expected, but they are there, they are behind us, they believe in innovation, and the support is on this way. So yeah, we just have to stick to it, believe on the idea, and just to have a solution which is really making the difference, I would say.
And then back to you. So same question, really. I mean, in terms of getting the adoption, getting people to embrace it? Is it regulatory? Is it economic? What do you find is the barrier you're facing when you try to talk to people about this?
Well, the hardest way is to change your habits. And this is the hardest way to do it. So imagine that you are thirsty, walking down the street, drinking your bottle and just throw it away. This is so wasteful. And we don't understand, until something hit us. And it's already coming back to us, it's in microplastic, it's in all kinds of pollution we got it in our environment. So I think that government are at this moment doing quite good job because they're trying to persuade the people to change their habits. And that means, we need to start living a little bit more wasteful, which is most important, and starting supporting this sustainable, profitable business of the future, which is, again, so important. And I think, when we start thinking, are we really need, to start consuming so much plastic and that on the end of the cycle coming back to us, in like microplastic, we start eating like 5 grams of plastic, per week. This is ridiculous. So we need really to change the way we are living, plus government need to start, stepping in and said, look, that's it.
So back to you, Bertrand. So from your travels, from your experience, I mean, you gave us a great overview of what you've seen. What does it take to really change behavior, though, on that fundamental level, both on the individual and the grander scale? Is it about incentives, positive incentives, positive reinforcement? Do we need to focus on penalties for bad behavior, or is it some combination?
I think we need everything. Because what happens is that most of the key decision makers have understood the urgency to act, but they completely underestimate the effort we need to do in order to change the situation. And they believe that what they do is enough when it is not enough at all. And why that? Because they are looking for one miraculous solution. They want the silver bullet. And there is no silver bullet. But the miracle does not stand in one solution. The miracle stands in the fact that we have so many solutions. But so many solutions, it means that everything needs to be changed. At absolutely every level, some of the solutions we have identified can be used to make things better. And I always give the metaphor of the piranha. The piranha, these little fishes that you have in rivers in South America. If one of them bites you, you hardly feel it because it's too small. But when you have 1,000 of them who come, they make a skeleton out of you in 3 minutes. And the solutions that exist in the world are exactly like this. We're not going to change the world with one of these solutions, but all of these solutions in their field are going to make a difference. And all of them together will change everything. And to understand that, of course, the regulation has to give an incentive to them. If it's allowed to throw all your waste everywhere, if it's allowed to use very complicated plastic bottles instead of what you have identified, or if you don't go into electric mobility, not only these guys will not create jobs, their startup will disappear, but also the world will not progress. There will be no evolution. So the regulation has a big part to play. I will give you an example that really touched me when I was a child. I was making my holidays in the family in a small village in the Swiss Alps. And every 2 or 3 days, everybody was bringing all the garbage in a river, throwing everything in the river. And it was allowed, and everybody was doing it. And you know why people stopped to do it? It's because it became prohibited. And because it was prohibited, it created business opportunities to collect the waste, to recycle the waste, to turn the waste into energy, and it created jobs, and it increased the GDP, and it decreased the pollution. So we really have to understand that regulation is not something bad. Regulation is what helps us to live in harmony with each other and with the environment. And we have regulations for health, hygiene, education, taxes, safety, everything. But they are not up to date in everything that is in connection with the environment and with the waste. And this has to change, and we are showing that it can change.
Well, and I'll just add a small nuance to that. I mean, as an American living in Europe, that feels like a very European notion that regulation and government are not necessarily opposing forces to my life, that they can be something that actually helps, where versus in the United States, those are opposing forces. Either I have my freedom or I have the government, and there's that tension always. Well, I just want to throw open to anyone else now in terms of the progress you're making with your solutions. Are you finding that people are more motivated by incentives for better behavior, or are they more motivated by penalties or regulation or requirements that they do something differently? Have you found one or the other of those having a bigger impact or doing more to change behavior? Anyone who wants to put your hand up? But Esteban, if you have something to say.
I'm going to be pretty upfront about this. You know, when I talk to my clients, what matters the most is the price. So if we're running a company with like a, let's say, eco-conscious purpose, it's good. Obviously, it's good. This is why we're all here. But at the end of the day, what matters the most is the price of the product, you know, that you put on the market. Let's say that there's a big corporation doing exactly the same product as me. Then at 200 euros less than me, the client will go to that solution, because this is like our nature right now. So I think we will make progress, and at one point it will become like a trigger that those companies, you know, that makes an effort to actually make things better in terms of job creation, in terms of, you know, producing locally, in terms of really thinking like from the get-go, like about the how you can tackle the environmental issues. At some point, it will become a trigger to purchase your product, even though if it's like more expensive. This is about all the value you create around the product and the service. That's make it like a game changer versus what you could actually have versus what you have from the competitors. Yeah.
Anyone else disagree? Is economics the most important?
Yeah, so a few words about the incentives. In fact, for companies, so we are B2B, I would say that there are always carrots and sticks. At the beginning of a concern, a social concern, governments try to put incentives, carrots, but at a certain point, they start to legally give fees or ask fees to company not respecting the legal aspects. So this topic is evolving on the companies, and the most important message I see, or the impression I see, is when the topic moves from communication field, department, to strategy field. And in most of the companies, environment is becoming a very strategic topic, because it's involving the companies for 10, 15 years. So the decisions taken today will impact the company for a long time. It's not just a communication topic today.
So let me put you all on the spot here for a moment. So again, I want to emphasize what you're all doing is vital and inspirational. At the same time, I wonder, is there a risk that we put too much faith in innovation alone to solve all these problems, that people are sitting at home believing, I don't have to change because one of you or all of you is going to invent the silver bullet that's going to fix all these problems, and I don't have to give up my conveniences or change my behavior because it will all get fixed. Is that a risk that we should worry about, or is that just my being a bit cynical?
Yes, it's a risk. And you see it very well for a lot of politicians. When they make a speech, if they want to be certain to be applauded, they say, I am in favor of innovation. And everybody applauds. But what does it mean? It is understood that if they are for innovation, it means that there is not enough today. Not enough solutions today. So we have to innovate. So we push the problem in the future. And we will find solutions later instead of implementing solutions now. So when we speak about innovation, we should never wait for the innovation of tomorrow to come. We have to use the innovation of yesterday that is not yet used. and we have to use it now. And this is how innovation is really useful, not just to push into the future, but to act today. And of course, technology is not the only answer. Technology depends on what we do with it. You can destroy the world with technology, or you can save the world with technology. So at the end, it is the intelligence, it is the vision, it is the goodwill of the people who are innovating now that will make a difference. But let's not wait for innovations of the future.
Robert, Aline?
Yeah, I mean, just wanted to add in terms of innovation, I mean, there is no limit. It cannot be a limit to innovation because every day is bringing a new problematic. There will be always what we are doing now, what we did yesterday will be maybe a problematic of tomorrow. So we have to find a new solution to solve the problematic of yesterday. So of course, it's a never-ending process, and we should never stop innovating and trying to solve the problem we have now.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think we got a couple countries already in Europe, that they said, look, we start doing that, and we need to start as soon as possible. And this is the most crucial, And nowadays, we need some kind of support that we say startups and just implement our technology. And this is the core. So we are targeting that kind of, let me say, first user, which are really in favor for us. This is the most important. And you can believe us that in the future, in a couple of years' time, everybody will follow. And this is the most important for innovation. As in mobile phone, everybody first was very expensive, big. Now everybody is using for different purpose. But this is important. Start with the solutions for the better world as soon as possible.
Okay, we're running low on time. Originally, I wanted to ask you a question about if you're optimistic or pessimistic. But if I can, I want to put a little twist on that, because as I'm thinking about it, I wonder if the real question isn't how do we not give in to the pessimism? I mean, I see it in my kids. I have two teenagers. There's always a little resentment when we talk about these issues that you're leaving us this crappy situation. The planet's a mess. You haven't done enough. Why did you do this to us? And you see the scope again of the problem, and it seems easy to sort of give into a sense of despair or hopelessness because it's such a profound issue. So how can we sort of share the optimism maybe many of you have, obviously, for what you're doing? You're feeling like you can make a difference. Is there a way to ensure that everyone doesn't feel like it's so hopeless that we just don't do anything and we're stuck in that sense of denial and despair?
I think that our children are the most important, and they are trying to teach us, what is better to do. And to be honest, I'm co-founder with my son, so we are doing that together. He's half of my age, of course, but nevertheless, we are doing something for the better, for the future, actually for their future. And this is the most important what we are trying to do.
Anyway, Elise?
Yeah, from my part, yes, of course, the children need to be involved in this process. They are the future, and they are the one telling us, okay, what did you do? What the generation before did? Why are we in this situation right now? So, and there is a lot of movement going on to make them aware of the situation. So it started, of course, at school. They are doing even more projects about the environment. They are, I mean, I live in Germany, and they are really pushed from the small age. My biggest daughter is 8 years old, and she's already doing project about environment. So yeah, of course, I have to give her. So it's my job to pass the message. So what's important, what we should do, what we should not do, and it starts there, of course.
Bertrand, let me come back to you just on that last question, because that seems to be the heart of what you're doing. I mean, trying to literally, in some cases, carrying this message, but also speaking about this and conveying that message so that people don't feel a sense of paralysis, that this is too big of a problem for us to solve.
It's a very important question, and I think a lot of the future depends on it. Because, of course, we have to make a better world for our children and for the next generation. But it's not enough to say that. Because who is going to change the situation? Big corporations or heads of state who are taking the crucial decisions. And if you tell them it's for the next generation, when their target is the next election, or the stock options from their company, they will not take the decisions in favor of the next generation, they will take the decision in favor of themselves. So we need to prove that we can reconcile the future and the present. What we do to help the future generation will be beneficial for today for the decision makers. And this is why I wanted all these solutions to be profitable today. And what they have showed you here is that it's the case. They are profitable, they can create jobs, they make money, and they participate to the growth of GDP. So it's good for the governments, and it's also good for the business of today, and not only of tomorrow.
Okay, let's end on that optimistic note. Again, a round of applause for all our guests up here on stage, and thank you all for being here at VivaTech and joining us online.